Great, 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 great. Well, we have enough for an agenda or a quorum, excuse me. And I see that it's 8:30 on the clock. So just to give a warning, if we want to start the recording, and we can begin today's meeting of July the 12th, 2023, 8:30 a.m. And welcome to summer in Connecticut. I hope all got through that storm in not too much difficulty. I know we, where I'm sitting right now, are still bailing water, but it could be a lot worse, and we take it from there. So we have the meeting called to order, and we have a review of our previous minutes. The first, let's go to the oldest, with May 10th, 2023. We had tabled those last meeting because we were taking care of some typos and so forth.
Correct,
Does
and
it?
they've been corrected. Everything's good.
Okay. That being said, I will need a motion to accept the May 10th, 2023 minutes.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Jennifer beat Norris to it. Okay, Jen, you're on here as the motion. Norris, you'll do the second.
Second.
Okay. Any thoughts, comments, or what have you from any members of the commission? Hearing none, can I vote ayes?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays? Abstentions? So we are good on May 10th, 2023 minutes. The second set of minutes, as I'm pulling them over here, and that is June 14th, 2023 minutes. Any comments or what have you on here? Any edits or comments?
I don't see any.
Okay. Maybe
Chair,
I'm missing something. Oh, go ahead, John. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
at the end of the meeting last month, we talked about me, the commission approved me to go talk to Deb about that one case, and I don't see that on here.
That is correct. Am I missing it on here? I'm looking.
Well, it's not there.
Okay. We can make the edit here, or we can table and then have it for next meeting here to have that part of the minutes. John, what would you prefer? Do you want it on there right now? We can, or why don't we table it here so it gets on here? We did mention it. We are all there. If that works with other members of the commission. Maria,
was that
Jen,
a formal vote or a discussion?
It was a discussion. Was there a vote? Members of the commission?
I thought there was a vote. I asked if you guys wanted.
I don't believe so. You had, from what I recall, you had just asked if you could come and meet with me regarding that. And I believe I told you that I was going to discuss it with my director. And we had set a tentative, you called me afterwards. We set a tentative meeting. And then I checked with my director and Vicky, and both said, no, it wasn't appropriate.
For what I recall was that I said I would only do it if it was okay with the commission, and the commission is one who said yes. That's why we're going forward with it.
Okay, this is Pamela Brown, the Director of Investigations. When we have an open investigation, you're not privy as commission members to that investigation.
No,
right? And then you can also.
You said that was closed.
You can, right, but you were submitting, our understanding that you said you had additional information to submit so that the case could be reopened in consideration of the additional information, the supplemental information.
No, I never said I had any additional information. What I said was I was going to come in and review what she had to see where we could go from there.
But then you had said that you could probably find additional information based on your, what I forget what it was called, skip tracer background.
Yeah, my experience, that's part of what I do is find out information.
So when we heard that, we kind of translated that into reopening the case.
Yeah, but I can only do
Oh,
that. if
oh,
it's
okay,
such bad.
hold it here. John and Debbie, you said maybe this may be reopening. So for the minutes, we're only going to talk about the minutes right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
In that respect, if it wasn't a vote, it's not required in the minutes. We really only are required to record votes.
Well, that may be a requirement, but I'm asking as chairman now that it be noted in the minutes that there was a
Okay.
request made. Okay.
Sure.
If we could do that, and we are going to table these minutes for the next meeting to be voted on until if we can just make a note of that, whatever the process. I understand you're 100% correct with the motion, but I just want it to be noted. And
Sure.
again, if it's an open, that we'll have that discussion later. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you, Debbie, and thank you, John. And we will come back to that a little bit later here. We're just doing the minutes for right now. Okay, everyone okay with the commission on this?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, moving on the agenda. So we're tabling, there we, comments and, right. Okay, we're going to go into the new business. We have Amy Thornton, an RCR applicant, experience log review, sample choice. Okay. Good morning, Shauna. Just getting on here. You're on mute, I believe, Shauna, just to give you a heads up.
Good morning.
All right, good morning. We have, we're under new business, Amy Thornton, RCR applicant experience log review. Did anybody review that log? I reviewed other logs, but I did not review the Amy Thornton log. Did anybody review it to pick out sample choices?
I didn't, but I can.
I
Okay,
reviewed the log, but my question is on the hours. Am I missing something? Is only 1,723 hours?
Hold on. Let me get this.
yeah, I'm looking as well, Debbie. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
we're working together here. Yeah, where did that go? Yeah, I'm seeing what you're saying from Amy Thornton. It was a dated June 3rd, 2023 log summary
Mm-hmm.
and has Connecticut and Massachusetts by quarter 1723. You were correct, John.
Hold on a minute.
Okay.
We can move on to the next one while I'm looking this up if that's
Okay.
what
Why,
you
why don't we do
would.
that while you're looking at that? Okay. We have, we're going to go to number 2 on there. While Deb's doing that, Ryan Johnson, RCG applicant, experience log review and sample choice. I went through it and John and anybody else, Maria and Jennifer and Norris, I only make a suggestion for 2 samples to be pulled, one from each of his sponsors. The one at 1985 Main Street in Springfield, which is a 20-unit office building from Mr. Jim Fisher was his sponsor on that log. And then I would suggest from his other sponsor, 162 Maple Street in Enfield, an industrial self-storage type place from Mark Godmeyer. I'm trying to read my handwriting here. Are there others, John, you may have had something, Norris, Shauna, Maria, Jennifer, that you would like to have as samples?
Well, I got a question on the log, Jeff. This is the first time I've ever seen, there's two, one's for 10 hours and one's for 15 hours, and it says office building single tenant consulting. It's not an appraisal, it's consulting. So the first one is, on the first page, it starts off at 1252 Berlin Turnpike, Weathersfield. And it says office building consulting. This is underneath Mark, I can never pronounce Mark's name, I apologize, Godsteiner. And then there's another one on the, towards the bottom, 404 Bridge Street Garage, Groton, that's a motel, that's also consulting. Do we accept consulting as hours towards appraisal work?
In the past, Sean, it's depending on the degree of what was done in the consulting.
Okay,
Okay, so it does fit under the general category here, but there we go into the hours, especially we dig deep if we're really playing on the minimum level of hours on the log. That's what's been done in the past.
Then Commissioner Rasmussen, can we just take one of them? John, would you be happy taking one?
well, I'm okay with asking him what he did when he comes before
Yeah,
us. It's
yeah,
only
that's what I'm
24
saying.
hours. I mean,
But do you
his,
wanna
but I
see
didn't
it
know if we actually accepted that or not. I've never seen the consulting.
Yeah, why don't we just look at one? Just to see what he did.
I think Norris or Commissioner Hawkins, excuse me, John was thinking about before I jumped the gun, maybe, we have an issue with the log first before we get the experience. So I put the horse in front, or the cart in front of the horse. So I have to back up a little bit here.
Well, how many hours
Are,
does he have? I'm sorry, Jerry. How many hours does he have total? Deb? I was trying to find that total.
Hold on.
7740.
I think I think I tallied it for you in the email, but I'll tally it again.
Probably
Hold
did.
on, let me get it open.
you got 740 under the Fisher sponsorship and 765 from the other again, I can't read my writing, so
Goddess
thank you.
Dinier.
And I don't,
We'll say
and I
Mark
feel,
G.
so that's 1505 on the
Yes.
hours.
So if you take that 25 off, he's only got 1480, and then he's got 1512 on residential. Now I know we've accepted residential before, but it's up to 1500, right?
That's correct. They
Yes.
can't go more than 50%.
So if you back those two off and the 12 hours off from, he's only got 2,991 hours. He's within his 6-year window, right? It looks like it.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I think we should go back and ask him to, I mean, we can accept the 1500 residential, but I think we can select samples, but we just don't approve the log, right? And then ask him to submit a couple more appraisals on the log instead of the consulting, or just ask him about the consulting.
I think that might be the best way to take care of it, John. Because it doesn't cut the mustard, by a dozen hours or thereabouts. You're right. So we can pull samples, but then before we move, before we just, so being that we don't meet typically in August, so we don't lose 3 months and 2 months for the individual. When he resubmits here, he's got to put a new log for us to approve in the
Right.
September meeting.
Can Shauna pick a couple of the residential from the residential log, Shauna?
Yes, she sent it over to me. She just for the record, Jason, she chose 60 Kodiak Lane, Unit 60 in Milford, Mass. 18-20 Barber Street in Putnam, Connecticut. Uh, 122 Murdoch Road, in Pomfret, Connecticut.
And Maria and Jennifer, I know you guys are relatively new. Feel free to speak up if there's anything that you would like, as a sample, please don't keep it to yourself. Please jump in. This is the time to do it. Okay.
Jason, the last one is 251
Thank you.
Canterbury Road in Plainfield, Connecticut.
If you want to email me those for the record, that would be great.
Sure.
Deb, I'd like to see, in addition to two that Jerry picked, 5 Angina Drive, Enfield. And then, yep, that's underneath, Mark G's.
Oh.
And underneath Jim Fisher's, 401 Southampton Road, Westfield, Mass. It's just a single tenant industrial.
Southampton. Westfield. That was one of the single families?
No, that was a commercial. That was an industrial.
Oh,
single.
okay.
That's underneath Jim Fisher.
Jim Fisher. Okay. And it was Angina Drive, and where was that again? I'm sorry.
Enfield.
Enfield. Okay. So I've got four, 1985 Main Street in Springfield, 162 Maple Street, Enfield, 5 Angina Drive in Enfield, 401 Southampton, Westfield, Mass. And you would like additional, a supplemental log with more of his experience.
Yes,
to
please.
review.
Yes, please.
Okey-dokey.
And
Yep.
I'll ask Jennifer or Norris or Maria, do you want to add any selections from yours, or you're okay?
I'm good.
I'm good with this one.
Okay. All right, then. I think then we are good with Mr. Ryan Johnson's. Let's move back on number 2. Amy Thornton's RCR applicant. Are you
Mhm.
okay, Deb? You're able to
Yeah,
run with that now?
I've
Yep,
got,
go ahead.
yeah, I've got the RCR is 1,500 hours and she's got 1,700
Mhm.
and change, so I'm not, you kind of threw me off there, John. I thought I sent something in that was not complete, that was incomplete, but was there something else you were thinking about?
No, it's probably my fault because I looked at it right away and said, well, there's not 3,000 hours here, thinking it was.
Yeah. Well, when you said that, that's exactly what I thought, like, oh my goodness. Did I put down RCR instead of RCG instead of RCR, but
I apologize.
You know, looking at Amy's log, the first few, she's 29, 34, 27 hours. That's a lot of hours for one residential appraisal. I do notice at least the time goes down when you get to the end, but you're saying you taking a whole week to do one appraisal. And on the residential side, that just doesn't happen.
Maybe was that just in the beginning, Shauna?
Yeah, it trends down, but even gets to 14, 13. It's a lot of hours. I guess I could always ask her when
Yeah.
when she comes in front of us, but that's a lot of hours, I would have to say. But she's over by 200, right?
Yeah.
mhm.
So I did send those to Debbie, so a
Okay.
few.
Thank you, Shauna. Any other suggestions by other members of the commission to send to Debbie on here? If not, then if you get a chance, please, at some point here today, so Debbie can make it all uniform, if that's the case. All right. So we're good with Ms. Thornton, am I correct? Okay, I assume so. All right, great. Now, moving to number 3 under new business. The following 4 appraisers are seeking 2 hours of CE equivalent for attending the 2023 economic forecast sponsored by Metro New York chapter of the Appraisal Institute and the Counselors of Real Estate. And as we can see, Fred Richard, Diane Norton, Rachel Gottmeyer, and Elizabeth Manello. there were some, whatever concerns or issues have they been addressed? Everyone okay? I know I did not go to the 2023. I've gone into the ones in the past, and was annoyed at myself that the schedule didn't allow me. I found it one of the better ones year in and year out of, and as I've said before, in the Metro New York area, it's like the must see, your must be at, type of thing. So any issues or other concerns with this?
None. I have none. I make a motion that we accept the 2 hours of continuing education credit for the 2023 Economic Force task sponsored by the Metro New York chapter of the Appraisal Institute and Counselors of Real Estate for not just the 4, but anybody who submits it going forward.
Okay. Can I get a second
second
on
that.
the motion John has put forth? Jennifer, I'm sorry, Jennifer just rose your hand. Okay, great. Questions, concerns, or discussion by members of the commission? Questions, concerns, or what have you by members of staff?
I just wanted to clarify something because I was discussing this with Linda for a previous blanket approval. And she was saying that she didn't think that that could be done. I just want to verify that that's the way it's supposed to be done, that there's a blanket approval.
I'm not sure if we know that.
We've done it in the past.
Okay,
Yeah, we've done it with courses like this seminar. After we review the seminar, if we found it sufficient, rather than keep coming forward, that it's that we're just approve it once.
okay,
We
And
did
we're
like
just trying to make your job easier, yeah.
the assessor, yeah, your job easy. Assessors things, things like that. 2
Okay.
hours seminars, homegrown seminars.
A good question. Any other questions from staff? Or Debbie, I didn't mean to cut you short. Or you have other questions
no,
on
that
this?
was just it. I just needed
Okay.
clarification.
No,
So that's
fair.
perfect. Thank you.
Any members or any questions or edits or comments want to be made by members of the public? Hearing none, then I'll call this motion to a vote to accept for the 4 presented and then others moving forward for 2 hours. Aye.
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 Nays? Abstentions? Okay, we passed that. Very good, number 3. Number 4, Mr. Jan Barinholtz, RCG 46 is seeking approval for 2 hours of equivalent CE for the course titled Lender's Perspective on Debt Capital Markets.
I make a motion that we accept 2 hours for RCG 46. Oh, I mean, for Jan, for equivalent for the course titled Lender's Perspective in Debt Capital Markets. We may have, and
Hang on, John. John, let me get a second first, and then we'll come right to you. Do we have a second to John's motion?
I'll second.
Sean has seconded. Questions by the commission? John, the floor, you start. Go ahead.
yeah, we might want to give this a blanket approval too, because there may be others submitting this from different other groups once we get closer to end of the year.
Okay, then I was in error, John. I apologize. Would you like to reframe, address your motion, and then we'll open it for a second?
Yeah, I readdressed it to give Jan Barinholtz approval for 2 hours of equivalent for the lender's perspective in debt capital market forward after who take it to.
Okay, can I get a second?
I'll second.
Shauna seconds it. Okay, now discussion. Questions or concerns from members of the commission? Questions or concerns or comments from staff? Questions or concerns or comments from members of the public? Hearing none, I'll call the motion to a vote. Ayes?
Aye.
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 Nays? Abstentions? So Mr. Barinholtz has got 2 hours for this lender's perspective in debt cap market and others moving forward if they apply. Number 5, under new business, ASC 2023 audit update. The floor is whomever wants to take it.
Okay, well, we did receive the preliminary review back. And we're in the process of evaluating it and formulating a response. And I'm just waiting for Vicky to return from vacation. There's no score yet, and the majority of the issues have to do with AMCs.
Is there something we members of the commission have dropped the ball, not helping staff or whatever with whatever the AMC issue, whatever the ASC has brought up? Is there something
Um,
we did not do well or could do
No,
better to help you?
no, unfortunately, the way the statutes are written, you guys don't have jurisdiction over the AMCs. So even though the ASC oversees them, you guys don't. But no, it's just, they've only been in business a few years,
Mhm.
and it's just ironing the wrinkles. There's nothing drastic. It's just like loose threads, that's all.
Okay. Can I ask that you bring up a very good question, Debbie, and inquiring minds would like to know, including mine, who does have oversight over the AMCs in the state of Connecticut?
The commissioner, the
Ju-
DCP commissioner.
Just the commissioner. Okay.
Mhm.
I was just wondering where did it fall under? Okay.
Mhm.
Any other questions by members
Somebody's
of the?
looking at it.
Yeah. Is there any questions or anything on this matter by members of the commission?
Yeah, John, I have a question, when I was involved with writing that legislation, the AMC legislation, and involved with the regulations too. And it never came up that, who was going to oversee it. So Mike, I just want to throw this on a table. Would it be easier for the Department of Consumer Protection and Debbie if we did try to, in the fall, look at changing or adding some regulations or I don't, hopefully don't have to do any legislation, but changes so that it does fall underneath our umbrella so we could help make decisions and things like that, take some of the burden off?
Is that a legal? I don't know where the legalese comes in, John, to be candid with you. This is an area that I don't have a lot of depth on.
Well, why don't
And
we, can we put that maybe on the agenda for September when
that's fine.
Vicky's back?
Yep.
And then, and maybe Pam can look at it too, to see if
Yep.
it's necessary and if it would be easier. And then if it is easier, then do we need to just do a regulation change, or do we actually have to go for some kind of statute change?
Yeah, we can put it on the agenda. Absolutely. This is an area much more about than I, because you were involved with this area, up to you were knee deep into it in the law and what have you. It's just one of those things that I'd never thought about it here until Debbie just mentioned it. It's very interesting.
But if you read if you get a chance over the next 2 months and you have some light reading to do while you're on vacation, you might want to read that appraisal subcommittee annual report for 2022, because they do address quite a bit of AMC stuff in there. Just to give you an idea of what they're actually looking at, dealing with, et cetera, et cetera.
I'm sure Norris will put that on the top of his
Yep.
summer reading list. Okay.
And
No,
Marie.
to be perfectly honest with you, what John was saying, I was just thinking about what he was saying, and I would think that before you do anything, I would talk to the commissioner's office informally before you want to write down anything, see what his feelings are about this. And before you do a statute or do a regulation, he's the guy. And you want to see what his feelings are first before you do anything else. Before we write down anything,
Yeah.
He may not agree on it.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with it. Maybe that's something Pam can find out and
Yeah, see how he feels.
Okay.
So
Uh,
Pamela Brown, Director of Investigations. Uh, It is my understanding if the board wishes to propose legislation that they must do so on their own. However,
Yeah.
I would recommend that you also reach out to our legislative liaison, Leslie O'Brien. Okay, but it's
Thank you.
typical that the board, if they want to have make changes, that they submit them on their own. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela.
Thank you,
very
Ms.
much.
Brown. You're correct.
Good. Any other questions from members of the commission?
Can we just maybe just put it on the agenda just to discuss it?
Certainly.
No, we don't, I mean,
It's good. Let's just find, like as Deb said, a wrinkle, a threads or what have you. This is another wrinkle or thread here that, all good intentions, like you just said, John, you were into it knee deep, and sometimes we get too close to it, and just we'll see where, what, how. But any other questions or thoughts or concerns on this matter by members of the commission, staff, or general public? Hearing none, then we have this on the agenda for September. Okay, thank you. Legal, Vicky is on vacation, right? I believe.
Yes, she is.
Is there anything to be
Recharging.
brought up? Anything to be brought up or that we should know about?
No.
Okay. Great. All right. Next on the agenda, DCP investigations. Appraisal investigations case report status of A, cases closed, and open cases. So the floor is whomever.
I believe I sent you the reports this morning. It says agenda item. So the summary of closed case reports. So since last we met, there have been 4 reports closed. 3 of them are timeshares. One of them was appraisal related. The complainant was dissatisfied with the appraised value. It was closed and I issued a letter of caution to the appraiser, which is not discipline, as you know. And then open cases, I just went with an informal open case summary like Linda used to give you guys. So there's 20 open cases. Jason, if we could meet briefly after the meeting, because I've got doubles and triples and in some cases quadruples of the same one. So I think there's a glitch in the queue. But anyway, so once that's weeded out, I've got 20 open cases, 6 are timeshares, 2 are BPOs, 3 are USPAP, 9 are value/USPAP. And the reason I put value first is because that's what initiated the complaint. They were dissatisfied with the value, and we always check for USPAP after that. But the 3 that are USPAP were reported specifically for USPAP violations.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions by members of the commission?
Deb, on the 2 BPO things, can you just elaborate? I don't know if you can, but can you elaborate? Give
They're
an
open.
example?
No, I'm sorry. I can't.
No,
I cannot.
in the past, doesn't the BPO fall underneath the real estate commission, not the real estate appraisal commission?
No. I will get the statute up for you. Falls under the appraisal commission. Hold on a second, please. Here we go. Okay, so that would be under, in our regulations, section 20-504-3, licensure or certification, categories and scope of practice. And if you go down to, let's see, it's paragraph number 3-E. Says any person licensed under chapter 392 of the Connecticut General Statutes as a real estate broker or salesperson may estimate the value of real estate as part of a market analysis performed for the purposes of a prospective listing or sale of such real estate or any other purpose permitted under that section of the CGS without being a certified or provisional licensed appraiser. Any real estate broker or it says salesman, but it's really should be person, salesman charging a fee or other valuable consideration separate from any fees or sales commission or potential sales commissions to be earned in connection with the listing or sale of real estate for providing an estimate of value of such real estate, except as permitted under section 20-526, which is again the listing or servicing contract. So that's shall be construed as engaging in real estate appraisal business. So in Connecticut, any valuation at all, other than trying to get a listing or helping your buyer, showing comps to your buyer to make them understand, the proper value or make a decision on accepting their offer. Anything other than that is an appraisal. And they don't have a license
Thank you.
for
And
appraisal.
I commend you and thank you for reading that, because in the past, I don't recall when the BPO stuff comes up, anybody explain that. Thank you very much. I'm kind of excited about that. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm
Any
glad I
other,
got to smile at something.
any other questions or comments by members of the commission on this category? Or general public, staff? Thank you for putting this together here. I didn't realize you had sent it, and I was taking a look at it while you were talking here. So thank you very much. All right. Last shot at it. Very good. Thank you for everyone and taking the time and putting this forward here. Wonderful. Number 2, disciplinary reported to the National Registry. So that kind of tied into what you just said, Deb, correct?
Mhm,
It's all
mhm.
lapped in there. Very good. Now we go into the course approval arena. That's next on the agenda here. And as we look, we have AAL 1078. And it goes all the way through APR 307. These all have AQB and or IDEC approval unless otherwise noted. And you can see that there have been numbers stricken for the approval on AAL 1079 from 37 to 18 hours, from AAL 1080 from 30 to 18, AAL 1081 again from 30 to 18, and AAL 1086 from 21 to 18. So Jennifer and Maria, just to give you a little history on this, is we have 28 mandatory. We have 28 hours you have to do every 2 years. 10 of those are mandatory. 7 done by USPAP and 3 by the Connecticut law. So it was to avoid confusion. It was the mindset back in the day that we only allow any course no more than 18 hours. So if someone took it, there was no mistake that meant their optional hours to be made up, but you still had 10 mandatory. So that's the history behind why we have done that. Okay, just to understand. So someone took, for example, the 30-hour AAL Advanced Market Analysis and Highs and Best Used by the Appraisal Institute. Someone would say, well, I met my 28 hours, yes, you got 30 hours of it, but there were 10 that were mandatory, and we ran into an issue years ago on that. So that's why we did it this way. So to avoid confusion. Now I just confused you probably, but just to let you know the history. Okay. Um, on those presented, are there any questions by members of the commission on these? Or staff or general public, what's been put forth?
We're just talking about AAL 1078 to APR.
AP 307. That's correct, John, in that batch. If there are no, can I hear a motion? Yes,
Commissioner Rasmussen, this is Jackie Boshane from the Connecticut Chapter Appraisal Institute. I just wanted, those were submitted for continuing ed, not qualifying ed.
I am taking a look here, Miss
I just-
Jackie.
AAL is continuing ed.
Do you know if they already have qualifying education? And they just submitted them for CE because those are courses that folks typically take for their qualifying education. I'm just wondering if they were submitted incorrectly.
You know, I did notify Alicia. I told her that,
Yeah.
but she said she was going to look into it. She never got back to me, so
Well,
she
if we take a
submitted them
look,
for.
if we take a look here, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Debbie. They have them under the AAL. You're correct. Those are the continuing ed, but the APRs, they seem to match up. They are the qualifying ed. Am I missing that, Debbie? You look
Coming
down at
down
the end
further
there?
on the agenda. Sorry, I don't have it
Yes.
pulled up, Commissioner.
Mhm.
Okay, I apologize. Okay.
No, I'm matching them up here. The first 2, 3, 4. I think they all match up.
Okay,
So
I
there's
didn't, I
1,
don't have an
2,
agenda in
3,
front of me,
4,
so, okay,
5.
thank you.
There are 5 that both match qualifying and continuing ed. Okay. So, very good. Can I get a motion to accept as presented here?
I'll
Make a
make the
motion.
motion.
Norris makes the
Second.
motion. And was that Maria on the second?
Yes.
Okay, and Maria on the second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. Ayes,
Aye.
nays, abstentions, so that passes. Okay, now we have IDEC only. Let me look under here. Okay, there's one class under the IDEC only, AAL 1076, cost approach and land valuation from Callispo Continuing Education, Randolph, Vermont, for 7 hours. Any questions, concerns by members of the commission?
Yeah, I have a concern on this class. So
Okay,
I don't have I don't have any issue with the topic. Their outline seems to be covering most of the stuff. But I do have a concern that it's not being taught or written by an appraiser. If you read the instructor's stuff, he's not an appraiser. He's just he's been involved in consulting and hazardous waste and things like that, but he's not not an appraiser.
okay. Other comments or concerns or questions by other members of the commission?
Can we table
John?
this?
Yeah, John, is the content okay, or because of the where your concerns are with the content? I'm just trying to follow where you're
Well,
coming from.
my question, so Deb, this is going to be an online class, correct?
Yes.
So I know we never done this before, but it doesn't mean that it hasn't been written properly. And it's the thing, it's just that I can't get that from, usually when we have an instructor, we ask for the instructor's credentials to make sure it's being taught. Is it possible that we table this one and ask them to actually give us a copy of the class so that we could look through it?
I don't think there's any reason why not. Okay. if there's a concern. Does anybody on the commission have a problem with that? Okay. John, do you want to make a motion for that?
I make a
table.
motion that we table AAL 1076 and request that they actually provide us with, even if it's a draft format, whatever they have, that they're actually going to present so that we could review it.
Can I have a second to John's motion?
Second.
Norris is seconded. More discussion?
The only discussion they have is they may have a question about that because of confidentiality and that we might not circulate it or something. So if there's something they want us to agree to or whatever, or at least just want one or two of us to look at it or something, you know, that's fine.
Okay, we'll cross that bridge if we need crossing. Okay. Any other questions, comments, concerns by anyone on this motion? Hearing none, I'll call it the motion to the table. Voting ayes on the motion on the table.
Aye.
Aye.
Nays, abstentions. Okay, so this is going to be tabled, and reach out to forward a copy of the material that we will request to members of the commission. If there are any holdups or hiccups, and since we do not meet in August, Debbie, feel free to run it by me. Okay, and
Okay.
therefore we can try to keep it going so it doesn't go into October or November, you know, that type of thing.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a question about this too. Depending on the material, I mean, would it be approved if they just got a different instructor that was an appraiser?
I think my concern is it was put together by someone who's not an appraiser. And the guy is also not an, so I think if it's an online class with no, that's a great question. I don't know, because I think we'd have to see the class first and see how they do it. They might actually have you can submit questions, and they might actually have because they are, e-learning. I've been getting pounded with their emails. So, they may actually have appraisers that they go to on a regular basis to help answer questions. I don't know. That just wasn't conveyed in the information that was provided.
Okay, I will, I'll find out, and I'll also ask, I'll ask for a password, in case you want to audit the class. If it's live in a different state, if it's the same class, maybe you might want to audit it to see if it is what you're looking for. But I'll find out. I'll give them a call.
It's a great option. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Very good. Any other questions, concerns on this IDEC only, AAL 1076? Hearing none, then we're going to move into, we have 4 that have no AQB or IDEC approval. So we will take each one on its own merits. AAL 1077, pretrials and tribulations, mock pretrial, sponsored by the Connecticut Association of Assessing Officers out of Windsor, Connecticut, 6 hours. Any questions or concerns by members of the commission on this submission for 6 hours?
I have to recuse myself on that because I was there for hours.
Okay,
I don't have any
This-
problem. We've actually approved something similar to
Yeah.
this past.
very much. Shauna, was this part of the assessors college or school?
School, yep, it was.
Okay, you and Jen probably went through. Can I get a
Jen's not getting
motion?
hours, so she's also.
Yeah, I was teaching, so I wasn't there for this one.
Okay. Can I get a motion to accept the 6 hours?
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead.
Norris has made a motion. Can I get a second?
Second. Give it to Maria.
All right, Maria gets the second. All right, other comments? I know that Shauna has mentioned she is recusing herself from the vote, and we'll note that in the minutes in a moment here. Jennifer, being part of the associate, do you want to recuse yourself, or you're okay?
Please. No, I'll
You wanna
recuse myself from this one. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Any other questions on this? Hearing none, I'll call it the vote. Ayes,
Aye.
nays, abstentions, and we do have 2 abstentions to be noted, please, for Shauna and Jennifer. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
The second one on its merits, AAL 1083, Appraisal of Water Rights Seminar. This is sponsored by the American Society of Farm Managers and Rural Appraisers out of Glendale, Colorado. They are requesting 8 hours. Open it up for any questions or comments by members of the commission.
I'm sorry, what was the number of that course again?
AAL 1083. I'm sorry if I went too quick on you.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Or anybody from staff or members of the public, any comments that maybe want to be made on this seminar?
I went through it. I thought it looked excellent.
They
Yeah.
do a good job.
It
The
really looked
farmers,
fascinating. Yeah.
the farmers do
agree.
a heck of a good job, you know.
Mhm.
Hearing nothing, can I have a motion to accept the as presented?
I make a motion that we accept AAL 1083 as presented.
Okay, a second.
I'll second
I'll
it.
second. Oh, go ahead, give it to Jen.
Jennifer got a second here. Comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none, we'll call this to vote. Ayes,
Aye.
nays, abstention. So the water rights seminar is granted 8 hours. Okay. Third on the list. And I'm going to tag these kind of together. Well, no, we're going to do each one separate, okay? Because they're day 1, day 2, excuse me. AAL 1084, 2023 Appraisal Summit, day 1 by the Appraisal E-Learning LLC out of Nashville, Tennessee, asking for 7 hours. I printed this stuff out, so I'm looking. Any questions or concerns by the e-learning submission? This is that their 15th annual appraisal summit conference.
Yeah, I went through it and I don't agree with giving him 7 hours. In the past, we haven't given experience credits for learning about the business or things about the business. We have given credits for learning about changes in regulations that impact appraisals and about actually learning, obviously learning appraisal theory. So they seem to be short little classes. There's a couple that are an hour, but some are only 40 minutes and 45 minutes, etc. And I went through it and I only came up with 3.5 hours for the 1084 and 3 hours for 1085. That's my opinion.
Okay, so we don't give half hours. So
correct.
so John, your feeling is, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so correct me if I'm wrong, that you feel comfortable with 3 hours for day 1 for the one we're talking about right now at 1084. Am I correct on that?
Yep, that's how I looked it over, but I would appreciate it
Okay.
if someone else could look it over too and tell me what they think.
Are there any other comments from members of the commission? Any other thoughts on this?
When I looked it over, I didn't think it was worth the 7. I'm not sure if I was gonna go down as low as 3, but I would have probably given 4, but that's just my opinion.
So we have a 3 and a 4 on the table.
I'm flexible. I'm
that-
flexible. I can see 4. I'm flexible.
You're okay with 4?
I'll make the
Okay.
motion to approve 4 hours then.
Okay, Shauna has a motion for 4 hours for day AAL 1084 Appraisal Summit day 1. We're only talking day 1 here. Do I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Norris has seconded. Comments by anyone? Members of the commission, staff, and or public? Hearing none, then I will call AAL 1084 2023 Appraisal Summit day 1 for 4 hours. Aye,
Aye.
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 nays, abstentions. So we give day 1 4 hours. That's 1084. Now we're going to go to day 2, AAL 1085. Again, the Appraisal Summit, and again by Appraisal E-Learning LLC. They have requested 7 hours. Again, now I open it up for discussion by members of the commission.
So I'm
I'm
at,
good with John's 3 hours.
yeah, the one I was looking at was the update on the VA, the navigating, GS, the websites. And then there was 2 more on there on updating on regulations.
Yeah, I'm good with John's 3.
Okay. Any other comments by members of the commission? Norris, Jennifer, Maria? No, I don't hear any. Okay. Any from staff?
Nope.
Okay. Any thoughts by general public? Okay. Hearing none, then do I hear a motion to be made on AAL 1085 day 2?
Go ahead, John. You're the one that put 3 out.
I make a motion that we accept the AAL 1085 for 3 hours of continuing education credit.
Okay. A second?
I'll second.
Sean, okay. Last time for discussion, comments on the motion? Hearing none, ayes,
Uh,
Aye.
I,
nays, abstentions, then we're good for that. In essence, what we're giving is the 2 days are going to get 50% from where they're at. They requested for 14 hours and they're getting 7. 4 on day 1, 3 on day 2, and that's where we go. I do not see any other courses, so I'm going to turn over to Debbie. Is there something that maybe didn't make the agenda or anything, as we don't meet in August that we should discuss, or we can wait till September?
No, there's nothing pressing.
Okay. I mean, on the courses, I'm just talking courses right now. Okay.
On the courses. Okay, hold on. Let me pull them up and see if
Certainly.
anything came
Okay.
in.
Okay.
Okay, we left off at 1088. Okay.
Debbie, while you're going through that, I'm going to open I don't want make you feel under pressure. I'm going to open. Are there any other matters to come before us on the commission today by the general public? We'll come to staff in a minute. I'm working it backwards.
Mhm.
Hearing none, anything to come before us today by members of the commission and or staff? I have one item, but I wanted to make sure that we take care of this first.
Okay, I'm ready here. We have, just to let you know, we have one from, it's a 7-hour use PAP from the Greater Bridgeport Board of Realtors that Linda's going to be teaching, but he didn't give me the approval, the AQB approval for the course. So he's trying to get that. I'm going to put that off till September. I was
Okay.
working with him, earlier this week to try to get something, and he didn't have it. So
Okay.
that's
Then
why
we
we're not doing
we'll
that.
put that into September. That's fair.
Mhm. They also have the 3-hour Connecticut appraisal law. So that would be AAL 1090.
Have you, is that something that can wait till September? When we rush
Yes.
things, usually these
Uh-huh.
things come back to haunt us in one form, shape, or another. And I'd rather do this on the straight
Sure.
up. Okay. All right, great.
Absolutely.
Um,
Okay. I'm just quickly checking them here to see which has AQB approval. I have one here from the Appraisal Institute, actually. I'm surprised they don't have AQB approval. Or they didn't upload it, but that's going to be for September. This
Okay.
one's for September.
Then
let's
if
see.
something comes up, Debbie, feel free to reach out.
Okay,
And if we have
I
to
will.
have a emergency call, then that's how we've handled it in the past.
Alrighty.
And we'll take it accordingly. Last meeting, it was brought up that about maybe getting back together in person, at least to be looked at it here. And I believe Sean had brought that up at the end of the last meeting, and now I'm bringing it here as I said that we would discuss it in the July meeting. Jennifer and Maria, you are new to us here. I don't know what in the past, just give you history. We used to meet in person all the time for 11 months of the year. We did take off August. In my 28 years, we have met in August twice because of extenuating circumstances. Okay. And therefore, we enjoy what little summer we get in Southern New England. Therefore, with COVID that came into play, we have gone to this format that you have been partaking in here for the last few months. And now there is a movement, as we ask, some boards are starting to come back sometimes. I don't know, all the time and what have you. So I open it up here for discussion with our members of the commission. If your thoughts on the matter here, and then and there's a part A and a part B. So let me take care of part A before I even go to part B. Go ahead. It's open to everybody. Do you want to once a quarter, every month, once in a blue moon, or never meet in person in Hartford?
I would think we should do it at least every other month, is my opinion.
Okay. We have it every other month. Okay.
I'm in agreement with Shauna, or at the minimum, once a quarter.
We have a once a quarter, once every other month.
I
Maria,
second
Jennifer?
Every other month too.
I'll
Maria,
be good with once every other month.
Okay. Right. Does that seem to be a consensus here? Once every other month?
Once a quarter.
Okay, once a quarter.
Oh, from the guy that lives the closest.
Hey guys, look, I'm at the state capitol. You see this room? I'm in the Senate clerk's office, so I'm just right around the corner. I'm always available.
Okay. Let me ask this now. It's the part B before we make a decision here. With the part B with staff, what's the protocol? We used to have parking cards that, click in and click out. We would go to the one conference room. We kind of knew our way. The world has changed since
Mhm.
COVID and so forth. Are there
I-
issues if we come in, and what's the protocol we must follow? So you tell us.
Well, it would be the same. I think we would have to talk to security about getting your cards updated. And then, of course, just reserving the room. I can go over it with Linda later on today and see what she did. And then we're tabling this until September, right? Or are we planning to meet in September?
I
I
would
cannot make
think,
September in person, so I'll be away. So
So this would be an October start then?
that's what I would say. But you guys, I just can't make September. I'll be in the Dominican.
We might want to do that because I just pulled my ID and it says here it expired in November of 2015. So I think we might.
I don't know. I think that was meant exposure, the date that they took the photo. Because mine is from back then too. But I do know that the cards to open at the gate, they do inactivate if you don't use them after a certain amount of time.
yeah.
Mhm.
I'm
So-
sure all of our cards won't open. I mean, obviously, if you get to the gate and you show, there's always a guard there. You show them the first time we can get in, but how do we get our cards reactivated, I guess? And then, of
Why don't-
course, Jen and Maria need cards.
Well, when you come in, if, first of all, if the parking garage gate doesn't open because your cards aren't working, you can always park on the street and then you come into the lobby, and then the security there would set you up with your badge. So let me just check with Linda and see if we can get something. Oh, Jason's just messaging me that Aaron handles the card and the parking issues. Oh, that's good to know. Okay.
Okay. Why don't we do this? I'm gonna, so
Thanks,
expedite
Jason.
here. People do like to take a little time off in August, and we want to recharge and whatever the case, or July, whatever the case may be. And why don't we look to have our first in-person meeting in October meeting? And therefore it gives everyone to work out whatever logistics that need to be done that haven't been done for the last 3 years or 2.5 years, however long it has been. Does that
Okay.
work for staff? Does that work for members? I'm throwing this
Yeah.
out to the commission members and everyone. Please, this is the time. If there's an issue, bring it up.
Jared, yeah, Jared, just one thing, we'll need a formal vote on this. And also someone just asked if there will be a virtual option, and the answer is no. We're doing either in person or online, but not hybrid, because the communication just never works.
I understand. I
Yeah.
fully understand. Thank you for jumping in here. But
No problem.
before we get a motion or what have you here, does that seem like a workable, let me start with the staff. Does that give you enough time to go through all the, whatever you got to go through? I don't know what you need to, I'm trying to be cognizant
Sure,
of that.
sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, thanks to Jason, I am finding out about the cards, maybe because it would be a permanent card instead of a temporary, because typically I just email the security and they've let our people up, but this is probably because you're permanent coming
Yeah.
in every other month. So
Okay.
we'll contact, or I'll contact Aaron and get that set up for you. And then I'll just give you an update on everything in September, and probably have the cards waiting, I would think, at the front desk there, at the security desk. I don't think you guys want to come in to pick up
no.
a card.
Why don't we'll find that out. You'll tell us in the September meeting and we'll look to meet in October in person.
Okay,
Is
and that would
that's
be,
does
that's
October,
October
whatever.
11th. October 11th.
Would that work for members of the commission?
Yep.
Jen and
Yep.
Maria, okay, Norris, what have you? All right. That all being said, Jason brings up then, do we need a motion for this is what we're doing? I need a little, I don't know, we used to meet in person and then we've done this. Or is this just an agreement that we need here? I need some input from someone to give me the correct way of doing it.
Yeah, no,
You know,
we did establish a policy that if we're gonna, that the boards should vote to meet in person. If they're
fair
gonna do
enough.
that.
Okay. Thank you very much for, can I get a motion here to that we will meet every other month in person beginning in October of 2023?
I'll make that motion.
Shauna has
I-
made the motion.
Just to clarify, when you say every other month, as you said, you don't necessarily meet every month, so are you saying every other meeting? Or,
Oh, well, it'll be every other meeting, okay? Because we don't, the only month we don't meet is August, traditionally.
Do you want to say on the even months?
Even months besides.
Whatever works. Whatever works, okay? The only thing I will say is this. October, God willing, we don't have snow, okay? Then, then we're looking at December and February, whatever. In the event, we have a nor'easter coming in, are we able still to kick in and go virtual on that date if we were scheduled to come in as a backup?
yeah, it may be, I don't know if it's a formal cancellation and then holding either a special or emergency meeting. Depending on how far in advance of the meeting you're making the change.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I just wanted to, just, it happens, We're in the
Yeah.
Northeast. Snow does fall, so, All right, so then you want to say the even months? Is John just on that? Does that work for folks?
Sure.
Okay. All right, then can I have a motion that we will meet in person on the even months beginning in October of 2023?
I'll make that motion.
Shauna has made the motion. Okay, a second.
I'll
Calling
second.
for a
I'll
second.
second.
Okay, John has done a second. Okay, discussion. Okay,
So,
ayes. Oh, okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Debbie. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. Floor is yours.
so on those months, we would have, the people that you're reviewing their logs and everything, they would come into the meeting as well?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay,
Well, not necessarily logs, but if they're doing a sample selection,
yeah, that's what I meant.
I mean, not sample, yeah.
Review of
Sample
their
review,
work.
correct.
Review
Mhm.
of their work. Yes.
Okay,
And their sponsor. Yes, that's how it was. It was the parade
Yeah,
that
that's
would
how
come
it
in.
always was.
Yep.
It's much better. You never know. We might start doing it. We may not like it, or say we need to do it all the time. Let's just go back half.
Okay. Any other comments? Debbie, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Nope, I'm good.
All right,
That's
great.
all I needed to know.
Hearing no, calling the motion under the floor? Ayes,
Aye.
Aye.
nays, abstentions? Okay, so we will see each other's eyeballs and see how much hair I've lost, even in person, since the last time in October of 2023. Very good. Are there any other issues, concerns, or that need to come before us today? I have nothing else other than that was a matter I was trying to carry over. Oh, I fibbed. Big fibber I am. I tried to reach out to Alan Schwartz, on the follow-up on our the questions on the exams and so forth. And I have sent out a note. I have not received anything back. I just want to bring everyone current. I will follow up. So hopefully I'll have something for everyone in September. But from the last meeting, I have written a note on behalf of us with the examinations and so forth. Okay. So I will follow up with that.
Jerry, I got one thing.
So the floor is yours.
We brought this up before. Alan retired. He was the attorney from the Attorney General's office that was assigned to us. Vicky is underneath our consumer protection. Have we been assigned a new attorney? And if so, if we're going to be in person, could it be possible they come to the September meeting and introduce themselves?
October meeting?
Yeah, especially for the new people, so they can understand that person's role for us, etc.
Yes. Does anyone know who our assigned legal representation from the Attorney General's office is at this point? Well, guess what? I'll add it to my list to find out. Okay. So in addition to Alan Schwartz that I'm dealing with the exams, I will now find out and let everyone know who and when, and will extend such invitation, John. Okay. Bear with me a moment as I'm making notes. Okay. Anything else, members of the commission? Any from the staff? Anything else we should be brought before us?
No, sir.
Anyone from the general public? Is there a question, concern, comment, or what have you would like to bring before us? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to ask for a motion to bring the meeting to a conclusion. No one wants to make that motion.
I'll make the
You want
motion. And
Okay, you don't want the fun times to end. John has made
until
the,
September.
yeah. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Maria, thank you. Ayes,
Nice.
nays, abstentions. Hey, I want to wish everyone, it passes. I want to wish everyone a wonderful balance of the summer. I want to thank everyone for helping move this meeting right along here, and Jason jumping in and helping out and keeping us in the straight and narrow. Debbie, for your fine work. We appreciate it. And hey, enjoy it, folks. And if there's anything that becomes a true urgent or emergency matter, I will then reach out to folks, and if we have to convene, we will do so. But again, 28 years, we've only had to do it twice. So I like our odds that we'll talk to everyone in September. Be well, and thank you very much.
All right, and
Take
I
care.
will see you in
Have a good one.
October.
Be safe.
Yeah, all right.
Bye-bye.
Very good.
Bye, Shauna. Have a
Take
good
care.
trip.
Bye.
Yeah, enjoy the